Welcome once again, everybody, to Blockbuster Mentality. I'm your host, Ben. Before we get started, give us a 5-star review on iTunes. We'd appreciate it. It takes 5 seconds. Thank you. No, but in all seriousness, it would help a lot. So thank you for doing that. We got another great show for you fine folks today. Joined by legendary actor William Sadler, Shawshank Redemption, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Bill and Ted Face the Music, Rocket Man. You remember that 1997 film where they go to Mars or whatever with Harlan Williams? He's in that. It's an obscure one that I decided to name, but you know him, you love him. William Sadler. He was honor speaking with him. Been a huge Shawshank guy for my whole movie watching life, I guess you could say. And it was a blast having him on. And you know, we get into the film Singin' in the Rain. Good old Singin' in the Rain, the classic musical, and with Gene Kelly, Debbie Reynolds. Great film. And he explains why he loves it. So hey, that's my cat. Hope you can hear her. What is it, Mia? What's up? What you doing? Huh? But yeah, William Sadler, great guy, great guest, great conversation, and hope you enjoy it. Here he is.
All right,
but,
Ben.
You are you're a New York guy, right?
I am. I'm a New Yorker.
New Yorker, man, and from Buffalo originally. I know. Are you a sports guy at all?
Not at all.
Oh, really?
I watched the World Series, and
okay.
You know, I watched the Super Bowl and the World Series.
Yeah.
And the Olympics kill me. I love them.
Yeah.
But I don't follow any teams. The Bills broke my heart years ago.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I was going to ask about. Is are you a Bills guy? And yeah, that's those 4 years in a row with the Super Bowl losing those, yeah, that had to have
been, that'll do it.
Yeah.
It's like being a Cubs fan, you know. How many years can you have your heart broken?
Yeah, well, I'm
going to take up skating or something.
Exactly.
Let me do something else here.
I'm a Detroit Lions fan, so it's not much better. It's been a painful life football wise for me, so you know. But hey, the Bills are doing good right now, so you got that going for you. Yeah. But
the stadium is actually in Orchard Park, which was the town that I grew up in.
Yeah, have you been to the stadium?
No.
No. Okay.
My mom, who passed away not too long ago, she used to go. After I left Buffalo, I left Buffalo when I went away to college, and since then I go back to visit people, but I've not lived there. So
yeah. Gotcha. And yeah, because being from Detroit and everything, yeah, I mean, sports was always a big thing, but then I don't know what it is. Later in life, you just stop caring as much. I mean, obviously, it helps having a team that it's just like, all right, you're gonna win, great. If not, whatever. You know, I got more important things to worry about.
It's funny. I get excited about the games when we get to the end of the season, when it gets down to the playoffs, then it gets down to the World Series. Is fantastic because all the marbles are on the table.
Yeah.
I mean, and you see people playing they either come through,
right,
every fiber of their athletic talent, or they don't. And it's so that those games are really fun to watch.
Yeah, like watching Pittsburgh Pirates versus like the Cincinnati Reds in the middle of July. It's just like
it's kind of exactly game 107.
Yeah, it's like okay, yeah, big deal.
I'm not that big a fan.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do love it when. And it doesn't even matter which teams, if it's the Yankees, that's good. If it's the Red Sox. That's good. It doesn't, and I find myself rooting for the underdog, for the one that hasn't won.
Yes,
in
same
years
here.
and years and years.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
that's
always,
what I
I'm
I
always
love
rooting
is
for the underdog.
yeah, definitely. Now I know I actually I do research sometimes. I know you're kind of in a farmhouse. Is that kind of what takes up your time when you're not doing acting? Are you like a do-it-yourself project kind of guy, or is that who you are? Or
I used I used to be.
yeah, now it's like
Then
I'll
they
hire someone for that.
then it comes, yeah, there kind of comes a point when I tried. Yeah, no, when we first bought this place, I was gonna do everything. I was
Yeah,
gonna, I'm handy with woodworking and this and that. I don't do electrics, but I could do some. But I used to do a little plumbing, and
okay.
I do some woodworking. I was gonna tackle all of this stuff, but it was just like. It was better for everybody concerned if I just go off and act
Right.
just go off and do movies and pay somebody who really knows what they're doing
Sure.
to
Yeah.
get this crap done. So that's sort of where we
Yeah.
landed, because I could do it, but it would take like 9 times as long.
Yes, exactly.
and,
Yeah, that's
and then you'd have to do it again because
right. Yeah, you didn't quite get it right. Yeah, I have about 8 or 9 unfinished projects around my house that my wife has been
yeah
getting on me
yeah
about. So,
we still have projects around this house that we
yeah.
need to do.
It's never ending. It's never ending. There's always going to be something. So I mean, there's that. Obviously, we'll be talking singing in the rain here because we like to have people on to talk about it, because I mean you can go on YouTube and find a random person talking about these movies, but we like to have people who are into the industry come on and
Yeah.
say what they feel about it and everything. Now before we get into that, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit more about your career, because I mean you've been doing this a couple years, right? Couple, three,
Well,
four,
yeah, one or two.
yeah.
I'm just getting the hang of it.
Yeah, exactly. What I mean, so yeah, being from that you said it's better if I'm off acting. I mean, when do you? And I'm sure you've talked to this to death, but I mean, when did you get the itch to do it? What kind of started that?
I started in. I did the first acting that I ever did was. Well, the first play I did was the senior play in high school. I had been in a folk band. I had been in a garage band that actually practiced in my garage.
Yeah.
Called the Night Riders, KNIGHT RYDER.
Wow, clever.
Seriously, we were good. 1967, 68, and I was, when that wasn't enough, I started playing the banjo. And I've always played the banjo, but I was playing the banjo and telling jokes and going around Buffalo doing a stand-up act.
Oh, okay.
As Banjo Bill Sadler. Perhaps you've heard of him.
Yes, he's a huge household name around here. Yeah,
he was massive. He was massive in Buffalo. He was almost, 1 out of every 800 people would know him. But anyway, I did one day the English teacher, one of my English teacher in high school, Dan Larkin, said, "Why don't you try out for this play?" And I did. And I got the lead in Harvey, which is very funny and very sweet and sentimental, and it breaks your heart at the end. It's an old fashioned, the Jimmy Stewart played it in the movies.
Yeah.
And he talks to this 6-foot imaginary rabbit. And I did it, and it was great fun. It was really great fun. And almost immediately after that, there was a community theater group. The Amherst Players did a show called The Subject Was Roses. And Dan Larkin was a member. The English teacher said, "Why don't you audition for that?" And I did, because I had a ball doing the first play. And I got one of the 3 roles in that play.
Yeah.
And but that play was a Pulitzer Prize winning drama, a serious examination of this little dysfunctional family, a mother, father, and a son who comes back from the army. And when he's been away and he comes back and sees his parents for his father for the abusive drunk that he is, and so on. And that one just knocked me over. It was so good. And the director of that asked me, what are you doing after this? Where are you going to college or whatever? And I said, I got such bad grades in school. I had applied to Buff State.
Okay.
To be an industrial arts student. I was gonna teach shop.
Oh, okay.
In high school. And I told him that, and he said, let me make a couple phone calls here. And he called the head of the drama department at Geneseo. There was a woman named Alice Austin at the time. This was 1968. And he arranged for me to go down and meet her and see a play and talk to her. And he put me in a car and drove me there. His name was Bob Schultz, and he had just graduated from Geneseo. And I was accepted at Geneseo in the theater arts program to be a theater man. And my father, of course, now, if you're going to pay to go to school, he wanted it to be he wanted you, when you're done, you should have something you can get a job with.
Right. Yeah.
So I ended up getting a teaching degree as well from Geneseo, in case this acting thing went tits up.
Yeah.
So, which I never had to use. I haven't had to use it, but it was good to have.
No, definitely.
And that's how it started. I did 1 million plays at Geneseo, and then I got a scholarship to study acting at Cornell. And I did that for 2 years. And then I ran away to New York and started doing plays.
Yeah.
And I did plays, including the last one was like a year and a half on Broadway with Biloxi Blues. Matthew Broderick's play, the Neil Simon play, Biloxi Blues. And so the first 11 years or so of my career was nothing but theater.
Nope. And then were you into, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, then I did Project X with Matthew. That was my first real role on film.
Right. Now, were you ever interested in like the musical aspect? Were you a musical guy? Like, were you in any of those musical plays? Like we're going to be talking about?
The closest I came to that was a play called The History of the American Film, which I did at the Seattle Rep. And I played the Cagney character.
Okay.
And they sing. There's songs in it. And there are dances in it. I had to tap dance. I had a tap dance solo.
Wow!
At the end of the first act, and which scared me to death.
Banjo Bill doing a tap dance solo.
I still have the tap shoes,
man.
And anybody who thinks it looks like fun. It's so easy.
Yeah, I'm always. It's mesmerizing to watch, but it's just like
it's fantastic to watch. It's really fun. It's really, really fun to watch when people are good at it. It's just, they make it look effortless. There's all of this great rhythms coming out of their feet, and then try it. Try it sometime when it starts. Flap ball change. It's
man, yeah. That's
anyway. I did it, but it scared the daylight. It scared the crap out of me.
I'm sure, yeah.
and I also had a 20-second change from in that play, in the history of the American film. I had to change from tuxedo evening clothes into a full dress uniform, army uniform, and tap shoes. And I had 20 seconds. I had 20 seconds to do the change, and they had put elastic in the shoes, and you just, you'd run off stage, and 8 people would just start ripping the Velcroed clothes off you and putting on the other clothes, and you slip into the shoes, and it was recorded music. The song I tapped to was on tape. And if I did, and it went like dum da da dum 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 da dum 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 da dum dum dum, and if I wasn't ready to step on my left foot on the first dum da dum 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 da dum dum, I was lost.
Oh,
I couldn't figure.
You couldn't recover after that. It's just,
it was like get these clothes on, and I'm listening to the taped music, and here it comes. I don't know. I'm not a dancer. I've never been a good dancer, but I have nothing but respect for people who do it and love it, and I'm just in awe of what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'd mentioned, stand-up comedy and stuff like that, doing comedy. Now that's, was that a main interest of yours, or was that, cause obviously, you've played characters who are, a little more on the intense side, but been in a lot of dramas. I know you've been in comedies here and there, obviously the Bill and Ted franchise, all that, but, how did were you just happy to get work, or were you interested in comedy, drama? Like, what were you mainly going after?
Well, I had done a lot of comedies in my stage work. I had done, including the Neil Simon play was a comedy. But when I got to Hollywood, when I finally started doing movies, the first roles that I played were these, the heavies. The Senator Trent in Hard to Kill, and Frank Sutton in The Hot Spot, the blackmailing asshole.
Yep.
And the villain in Die Hard 2. By the time I had done the Die Hard 2, the Hollywood gets they just do this. It's natural that they do. When they're thinking of casting bad guys, your name pops up, and not when it's the comic lead in a sitcom or something.
Sure.
So I long to get back to being funny. I've always loved being funny and making people laugh. That's been that's like a huge part of who I am.
Yeah.
Just as a human. And I was grateful for the jobs to play the heavies, because,
yeah.
But then with Bill and Ted, I got a chance to be funny, and it was, that was great. That was really great fun to do. And then with Shawshank, Haywood is funny.
Yeah.
I made him about as funny as I could in the context of a drama.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
He's the one who finds the horse ball in the field and thinks it's a rock. And he and all I really did was make his IQ, just turn down his IQ until he can only see what's right
sure.
in front of his face. And he just got funnier and funnier and funnier. The Alexander dumbass.
Right.
Dumbass.
Because he's definitely more of a lighthearted character in that movie. He's
right.
Which I love. That movie needed that. With all the
exactly.
Heaviness.
Well, it's not a it's not a lighthearted story. And
right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Anytime you can let the audience laugh at something, they they're so grateful to be to sit back and smile and then get drawn back into the drama.
Now
But
with
anyway, so
no,
I've
go
always
ahead.
tried. I've always tried to, you know, bring comic elements into even serious movies. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean that's yeah. I mean you need that definitely, and then real quick with Shawshank. I mean, obviously, I mean it's in basically everyone's top 10, top 5 of all time. To be a part of that, I mean that's. I mean I know you've talked it to death, but when did you know it was something special? Because initially, I mean, it didn't do too well at the box office. It got its legs, obviously during award season that year.
Right.
Were you surprised at the initial response and results? Like how was that whole experience?
I was hopeful I wished it had done better in the theaters when it first came out, but it didn't. It only lasted a few weeks. Um, and part of that was the title, the name of the movie.
Right. Yeah.
Um, Nobody knows what a Shawshank is,
Yeah.
and redemption sounds religious somehow. And then you hear that it's a sort of a 3-hour prison movie.
Yeah. It's like, oh,
and
what?
that pretty much kill it
Yeah.
for a lot of folks. And it, like you said, it finally, when it was nominated for all of the Academy Awards that it was up for, they put it back in the theaters, and it got, people saw it because it was up for Best Picture. So it was like,
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Once you see it, you get swept along
Oh yeah.
in the story, and it works its magic.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like movies really can't do that now. I mean, it's either they were, great at the time. I mean, obviously, there's the few people who, will find a hidden gem, but it doesn't really get the legs it needs, like Shawshank did.
And if it weren't for the Turner class, Ted Turner, I think,
right,
put it on his Turner Classic Movies, and it was on people's television, twice a week,
right,
and at video stores. That's really where most people saw it for the first
yeah.
time.
Yeah, I think it was like the most rented movie, I think, like for a long time at least.
But
I don't know if it's still
it's
ended up
fascinating
being,
though.
but
It sort of picked up speed.
yeah,
It grew, not unlike Singing in the Rain, which
right.
it got good reviews, but it didn't do well at the box office when it first came out. It wasn't a big hit
Right.
movie, and it was only years later people sort of rediscovered it as this sort of perfect gem that it is. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah, because I mean,
um
even at the Oscars for it, I mean, it was nominated for Best Score and Best Supporting Actress in Gene Hagen. So I mean,
right.
which is great that they got nominated, but even for a film like this, it's like it didn't get nominated for Best Picture or anything like that.
No.
So yeah, it must have been many
And Donald
years later.
O'Connor won the Golden Globe that year
Oh,
for
okay, yeah,
which
yeah.
was like, okay.
Yeah, it's like bad,
But
but
it's funny though that it is kind of remarkable that it languished for a long time. It sort of it came and went, and it wasn't until it started playing on television and video rentals and so on that years later people started to discover it,
right.
and as if by magic it became this, holy crap, what a movie.
Yeah. Now, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Singing in the Rain, 1952, Gene Kelly, Debbie Reynolds. Do you remember the first time you saw this?
I was 2 years old when it was made.
Okay.
So I didn't see it in the theaters.
Right.
I saw it on video, or I saw it on television. I don't remember the very first time. I think I was, as I've been as my acting career has gone on, and I started working in theater and films, I started to, somewhere along the line, I started to notice how extraordinary it was, and appreciate it, because I don't. There's so many things that go into it that that what I had been attempting to do on film gave me like this huge appreciation for how well they did it in that one.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And then it goes back to, yeah, well, just what you're saying, like people who can actually sing and dance, who are amazing at it, and just watching them, do these tap dances. It's just like,
Make it look easy, make it look fun.
You're right.
Make it
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
I read that the good morning, that number with the three of them, Donald O'Connor and Debbie Reynolds and Gene Kelly. They started filming at 8 a.m. and didn't finish filming that little scene, that number, till 11 o'clock at night. And by the end of it, her feet were bleeding.
Oh man, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, especially at a time like this, I'm sure there weren't too many rules in the unions and stuff. Like it was.
Oh yeah, no. There wasn't any. I don't think there was any OSHA of any kind back then.
Yeah.
You know.
So I mean, obviously, this is a huge musical from 1952. So I mean, what when you're asked, what movie would you like to talk about? Why'd you pick this one? Why'd you pick this?
I chose it because when every now and then a film comes along that seems to me to be perfect, and just a perfect piece of cinema, that all the things that could have gone wrong or could have gone differently didn't. The accidents of casting and editing. There's so many ways that so many things had to go right.
Yeah.
For this film to have just come out as this perfect, it's a little gem of a movie. And every single person involved, Gene Hagen. I've been funny on film. I know how hard it is. I know what's required to do it with a straight face and make it as funny, and make it so funny people are peeing themselves.
You're right.
And she's exquisite. She's flawless.
Yeah.
But everybody is.
Yeah.
Donald O'Connor.
As Cosmo.
And it's this. Yep. It's also this stylized. America had just a few years before just finished World War II. We're in the middle of the Cold War with Russia. Korea was happening. And this film has a style. It's large. It's bigger than life.
Oh yeah.
Everybody, all of the acting in it is bigger than than methody sort of right. Marlon Brando and Streetcar.
Sure.
It's not. It's stylized.
Right.
And, which gives it this. It elevates it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Because
so when Gene Kelly says, dignity, my career has always been about dignity. And then they do the flashbacks of all the, these completely undignified moments in his career that lead up to the Fit as a Fiddle number that he does with Donald O'Connor. That is just, you watch that number. Go on YouTube and watch Fit as a Fiddle. Fit as a fiddle, ready for love. I'm dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
you can't. How many hours and hours and hours of rehearsal?
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
to make it to just make it look so
Yeah,
effortless. This
it
little
makes you
3 minutes of
appreciate
film.
the just the craft and care that went into it. Like obviously they cared about it and they wanted it to be this sort. It was kind of a spectacle,
Right.
in a way. And it's just so much went into it. And I love to for it being in 1950 where talkies were around for 20
Right.
some years at that point.
Right.
It shines a light a little bit in Hollywood, how it's
Exactly. That
kind
well,
of
that's I think that's the other thing about it that I
yeah,
find that I really appreciate is that it's this sarcastic look at Hollywood.
right,
It's scathing look
yeah,
at Hollywood and stardom and movie stars and studios and
right.
just the bullshit that and it sends it up. It sends it up in this beautiful, lighthearted way. That it's poking fun at the industry in
Yeah,
in a really great way that it never gets nasty and it never gets dark.
right. Yeah, because you talk about the methody actors that later on come with Brando and stuff. Those
Right.
are they get more heavy and more kind of depressing. I mean, I love watching those films. It that makes you feel
Right.
something. But like this is more just you're just watching just for the full on entertainment and just
Yeah.
it's a movie. This is what movies
Flat
were.
out. It's
Yeah,
flat out fun
yeah,
from beginning to end. It's just this gem that for some reason the casting, the writing,
yeah.
and Betty Comden and Adolph Green, just there's no you can't poke a hole in it anywhere.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, it's
just
yeah.
kind of the perfect thing that lives in. It is too. When I say the accident of, I've talked to Frank Darabont about Shawshank, and he said we caught lightning in a bottle.
hmm
That was his phrase, and I think I know what he meant, because there was a moment when Tom Cruise might have played the Tim Robbins role.
Yeah.
There was a moment when Frank may not have directed it; it might have been Rob Reiner.
Oh, wow.
There's so many things happened the way they happened that that could have gone any other way. Any one of 100 other ways. The music or the casting,
Right.
the chemistry between the guys among the inmates. Or like Casablanca, there was a moment when Ronald Reagan was going to be Rick,
Oh man.
and,
Yeah.
and it's just a different movie. It's a completely different movie.
Yeah, it makes you think of all the movies that were made that if they would have been cast different, like maybe they would have been great. And it's just, yeah, they just like you said, lightning in a bottle. You just happen to catch it just at the right moment, right? Just
It's
circumstance and
extra, yeah. And when something comes along like Singing in the Rain or Casablanca or any of the really wonderful, Citizen Kane or Wizard of Oz, I can't picture somebody else doing The Cowardly Lion.
right. Yeah, it's yeah. Yeah,
No,
I mean it's
or Judy Garland. It could have been a different actress.
right. Yeah, yeah.
They sat there saying, who should we get? Who should do this? There was a moment when those things were decided.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, obviously we've been with it for so many years that it's just like, no one could do it. But it's like, well, maybe if they did someone
I
else,
know you think like,
maybe it could have been even better. Like it's just
yeah,
crazy.
no, it couldn't have been better.
No, 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 it could
That's like,
not.
I guess that's my point. It's
Yeah, no, exactly.
having been in the business and seen how many elements, how many moving parts there are with the
Yeah,
music, the music and the lighting and the directing and the casting and the writing, the camera work.
right. Yeah,
There are a million ways you can screw this up.
yeah, absolutely. And it's
You can
just,
take a really good script and put cast it right, cast it well, take a shot at it. It's always that you're always just taking a shot at it.
yeah. Well, I just
And
love it too.
sometimes it's successful, and sometimes it's like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't really figure out why it was. That's one of my favorite things to do. Is this is probably cruel, but I'll watch big, huge budget movies where they spent trillions of dollars to make the movie,
Right.
and they have unlimited. They put stars, the biggest stars they can
Right.
find, and the biggest camera work, and the biggest stunts, and the biggest this and that, and the whole thing is kind of,
Yeah,
if
it's
it
just
if it falls flat, I always find myself trying to figure out why that was.
right. Yeah.
Why didn't I care about it? Why didn't that work? They put all the elements together, didn't they?
Right. Yeah. It's like, it seems like, you have almost the dream team, whether it be the
Right.
actors
And
or
Hollywood does that a lot. They'll put,
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
they'll
even
put
with
their $1 billion actor in that role, even if he's not quite,
not quite there. Well, even in this, I mean, you have the Lena Lamont played by Jean Hagen. She obviously is, for her looks is in these, silent pictures, but then when it comes to, when it's time to do the talkies, it's you hear her voice, and it's
she opens her mouth for the first time, and you fall on the ground.
Yeah,
and she does it with a completely straight face.
Right. Yeah.
She's just like, well, of course I talk this way. And you go like, oh my God.
Yeah.
She's and it is wonderful that she's a beautiful actress, and they do her up to look gorgeous, and
right.
They sell her beautifully until she has to open her mouth, and then you find out she's this like, whining, petulant, conniving.
Like in this nasally voice, and just
with this awful grating nasally voice.
It's so great, but yet so cringy. It's just like, oh my goodness, how could anyone take her talk?
I know, but you just fall on the ground laughing.
Right? Definitely. And then you have her opposite, Debbie Reynolds, who is just beautiful, who can just do it all, and she finally gets her shot. Great moment at the end when
she wins it. She wins out, and she gets the guy. She gets the stardom. She gets everything,
exactly.
And she's earned it because she's a good kid,
right?
She's part of that world where my dad's got a barn. Let's put on a play and make enough money for mom's operation.
Right. Exactly.
It's that kind of hokey.
It's
hokey stuff.
So it's what they did in the 50s, It's what they
Donald O'Connor. They say that I read somewhere that after he did that Make 'Em Laugh sequence that he sings a song called Make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh. And he does this comic dance that he also smoked 4 packs a day, and that he had to stay in bed for like 3 or 4 days.
Oh man, yeah, those
after he shot that sequence.
Those lungs, yeah, they had to been.
These things take a toll, man.
Oh, I'm sure.
I watch that. It's like I watch him throwing himself around on the ground.
Yeah, it's insane. It's all like one shot too, it seems like. And it's
well, dance sequences back then were often shot in one long, or two, 2 long segments.
Sure.
Because you can't really get in and, or they didn't anyway. They would shoot it like a stage play.
Right. Yeah.
Like a set piece. But he's...
Yeah.
for whatever reason, he got his chance to show off.
Right.
And he just blew it. He just blew the roof off the place. It's the most athletic, like I said, he won the critics, the
Golden Globe or whatever.
The Golden Globe for that role.
Yeah, deservedly so. I mean, he's incredible. And I also heard that Gene Kelly had like 103 temperature when he was doing the Singing in the Rain scene.
Right, I heard that too. When he does the Singing in the Rain thing.
Yeah,
and the wool suit that he's dancing in, the water kept shrinking it as he was wearing it.
Yeah. I can't even get out of bed and get a drink of water for when I have that kind of temperature. And he's out there just singing and dancing. It's like I gotta do it. They made them different back then. They were bred different.
They were made of sterner stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Was Gene Kelly your? Was he your guy? Was he your one of the ones you looked up to? Like, was he?
I guess not really. Not until Singing in the Rain. I think he had done American in Paris before that.
Okay.
But like I said, I have, and I've always had this respect for dancers.
Yeah.
I've done just a tiny bit of it in my career, and I just have nothing but respect for.
Yeah.
For how much work goes into my cousin was she was in New York. She moved to New York to be a Broadway, one of the chorus kids.
Right. And
she ended up on a cruise line and dancing in the chorus line and then in Vegas and what have you. She's a good dancer, but she would have a jazz class at 8 a.m. and then a ballet class in the afternoon, and then do modeling and then go to an open call. And it was like every day. You can't, this is the instrument, and, you take a few days off and it doesn't move as well.
Yeah.
And I just think, the people that do it.
Yeah. They're
on a level like that.
You got to be.
I don't know what they're made of.
I know. Yeah, you got to be a different kind of person, and that can to have that energy, to have that motivation, even
commit.
It's just absolutely. No, I know. We got to wrap up here, but so who was your actor you looked up to when you were coming up? Who
George
was
C. Scott.
George C. Scott? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I admired him. I admired when I was just starting out. I was acting in plays and dreaming about, one day I'm going to do films. And The Godfather landed about that time while I was in college, and we went and saw that like 3, 4, 5 times. And I wanted to be Robert Duvall, and I wanted to be Al Pacino, and I wanted to be Dustin Hoffman, and I was like Peter O'Toole.
Right.
There was this little constellation of actors who I thought were at the top of their game. They were flawless. They were great. and um, and they inspired me. You know, that was like um, you learn from your heroes. You
Yeah.
can't be George C. Scott, but you but you can learn a lot by watching him and imitating, you know, part of the process. At the end of the day, you make it your own anyway.
Yeah,
You
no, definitely.
always end up singing your own song,
Obviously,
but you get pieces from, you know, Marlon Brando. I
sure.
admire
Yeah.
James Dean and so on. You know, they were like
Yeah, they're the
I guess it's
yeah,
like you have your heroes
sure.
and you steal from the best. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
you imitate the best, but at the end of the day, you don't really become a professional until you make you make the dance your own.
sure.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, you're known
So
for what you're doing, you know, not what
right,
uh not what you
but
borrowed
everyone
from.
starts there.
Exactly. You got to.
Yeah,
George C. Scott. I mean, obviously, you know, you obviously think of Patton, but for me, Doctor Strangelove
Doctor
is where I
Strangelove,
just, oh
right?
my goodness, he is so fantastic at
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely huge. It's
It's
like
just
it's just like, you know,
his
just
comedic chops are,
balls to the
yeah,
wall. So,
yeah,
you know, gigantic characters.
yeah. It's he's so
It's
great.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, that was and he was
yeah.
one of he
Yeah,
was one of the
I
heroes.
don't blame you at all. But yeah, Singing in the Rain. Any final thoughts you had on Singing in the
See
Rain?
it
You want
if
to?
you don't
Yeah,
have if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's
check it out,
it's
folks.
just one of those gems. You know,
Yeah,
it's been
it's
almost 70 years since they made it, and
crazy.
I it's that's the other thing about it. It just feels timeless.
Right?
It's
Yeah,
and it lives in its own time, and
yeah. It's
it doesn't
well,
matter.
and whatever they've done with it now, like I
Yeah,
watched. I don't know if I saw like because I watched it before the show. To
yeah.
refresh my memory and like whatever they've done to it now is just like it looks like amazing like
What are they? Oh, like
it's totally clear and just
digitally
like
cleaned up the colors. And
yeah it's just
yeah,
like amazing to
yeah.
look at so but yeah great
But
choice.
it just holds
Yeah,
up. It holds up so well, and
yeah,
those performances. It's really great that those performances were captured on film and that they live.
yeah,
You know, generations after generation will, you know,
yeah.
can watch them now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's yeah, definitely should be someone's introduction to musicals for sure, or maybe not because then you know it's only downhill from there. So maybe not. Maybe save this one for
No,
others. But nah, yeah, don't wait,
no,
folks.
we
Don't
all
wait.
stand on the shoulders of the people who went before. I'd like to thank
Exactly.
all the little people that I had to step on to get here.
That's why he's here. So, well, it's are you doing anything? You promoting anything? Got anything coming up?
I have two movies in the can now. I've done. I just finished Salem's Lot,
Oh, right. Yep.
another Stephen King film, which I'm not sure when it'll come out. We just finished Principal Photography, but that should be fantastic. It's a
Yeah.
wow, is that a great story? You know, um, vampires
Yeah.
and
Who's in that with you?
um, oh my God, Lewis Pullman is the star of that one. Plays Ben, um, and he's fantastic. I had several scenes with him. John Hickey is in it, and Bill Camp. There's leaving people out. Sorry.
No, you're I'm
The
looking
other
at the
film that I want to mention, if I may, is
yeah.
it's a little independent film that I did called A Stage of Twilight that I'm pretty sure is gonna it's gonna do the festivals first,
Okay.
and and then hopefully find a distributor and find a release in theaters. But it's myself and Karen Allen.
Oh,
Karen Allen
nice.
from the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right.
Movie.
Yep.
And we play a married couple. This couple who've been married for 42 years. And it's something that I hadn't gotten a chance to do, was just play a human. In a sort of a normal situation. He has a sort of a bad diagnosis, and the movie is about their dealing with everything that follows that.
Yeah.
But it's beautifully shot, and it was. I know it sounds funny, but I've never been so absorbed and caught up in a character
That's great.
as I was playing this.
Yeah.
And it surprised me. I hope it's a wonderful film as well, because, like I said, there's a million things that have to go right.
Yeah.
But
well,
the chemistry between myself and Karen Allen was wonderful.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
She's one of the. She was fantastic, just wonderful.
Well, and to have the career you've had, as long as it's been, to still have roles that you're excited about, and
I got swept away.
That's awesome.
I really got carried away with playing this character, which at this age is remarkable. It was a gift. It was a real blessing. It was a gift.
Because you're what, 43, 44 now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
There you go. I like to flatter my guests, so
thanks.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
But yes, a stage of Twilight. I'm looking at it here.
Stage of Twilight.
Looks very intriguing from what you're saying, and
I hope it gets to see the light of day. There are a lot of indie movies made every year.
Right.
And some of them go down without a bubble.
Which is a shame.
Walter Hill used to say, "Yeah, down without a bubble."
And then, one more thing I want to ask you about a Shawshank. When Brooks has you with the knife, but how intense is that? Was that scary to shoot? Was it intense? Was it a lighthearted shoot? Like what was that moment like for you?
The acting was serious. The acting was pretty intense.
Yeah.
I played it like he's going to cut like this crazy old fart is going to cut my throat.
Yeah.
Fun film fact. James Whitmore was terrified that he was going to hurt me.
Aww.
He was so worried about the knife and having it close to this young actor's neck.
Yeah.
That maybe his hand would slip and he was really, really worried.
Yeah.
And they had to grind the knife until it was like a spoon. It was you couldn't cut yourself if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And even then he was, that for him, that was what the scene was about. It was about not hurting Bill.
Yeah, it was probably more traumatizing for him than you. Like he was, which is sweet of him. He seems. His character's a sweet guy. He seems like he was a sweet guy.
No,
but
he was a sweet guy. He was. Yeah. He was a beautiful guy. We used to sit around. And he'd sit in a chair and. We just listened to stories.
Yeah, that's
it was. No, he was wonderful to work with.
That's
I remember on the day that we shot that scene, I remember that was the big concern. He was upset. He was worried that in the heat of the, in the heat of the emotion that he was supposed to play.
Right.
And me, and what I was bringing to the scene, that
Sure.
somehow I could get hurt, and he was just, that can't happen. That just can't happen. And so
Yeah.
I was like, I'm okay. Jim, I'm okay. Just you can just lay it there, just rest it there, and I'll act and you act, and
that's what
we'll
we're
pretend
actors.
Yeah, exactly.
We can do this.
We can do this.
Yes.
You're good enough.
Exactly. But it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you, and it's just I wish my grandfather was alive today to tell him I talked to someone from Shawshank Redemption. He would get a kick out of that. So, but I appreciate you coming on. Are you on social media at all where people can find you?
I am. I'm on Twitter and Facebook.
Facebook and Twitter. There you go. Well,
you can
again,
find me.
Absolute honor speaking with you, and thanks so much for coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, folks. William Sadler joined me. I got to speak with someone who is part of cinema history, Shawshank Redemption. It was such an honor speaking with him. He was also in Green Mile. Remember? He was in that. But hey, make sure you're following us on Twitter at BlockbusterCast. Instagram at Blockbuster Mentality. Go to our website, blockbustermentality.com. All those things I just mentioned are where you can get updates on the show and see when new episodes come out, and all that fun. But all right, folks. Well, that is it for me. For William, I'm Ben, and as always, grab some popcorn, grab some snacks. We'll catch you guys at the movies.